Okay, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening sa inyong lahat. Let us discuss a review material on intangible assets. So let me just share to you my screen. Ayan. So in this material, we have 15 multiple choice theory and 15 multiple choice problem solving. At dito po sa bandang itaas, nandirito po yung visual summary ng mga kailangan po ninyong i-consider no, when studying intangible assets. So alam naman po natin that by the nature of an intangible asset, you have to consider these three characteristics, no? The identifiability requirement ng ating intangible asset na dapat separable siya or arises from a contractual or legal rights. And then there is also this important characteristic on control because otherwise if an entity does not have control over that, hindi po natin yan pwedeng ma-categorize as intangible asset. And even for assets in general, di ba, sa very definition ng assets, nandoon yung control. Okay? And then, of course, your future economic benefits. So, it will benefit the entity in the future when the entity sells a product or services, no, or merong mga cost-saving measures. Okay? Ito, nothing much to consider because minimension lamang po nito yung exclusion under IAS 38. Kasi yung standard na kumukover sa intangible assets ay PAS or IAS 38. But the following assets no ay considered under another standard and therefore excluded under IAS 38. Okay? So, meron din po tayong mini-mention sa discussion ng intangible assets about internally generated goodwill. Okay? Although makikita niyo po dito goodwill naka-X because if the goodwill is acquired in a business combination, the standard that covers goodwill ay IFRS 3. Although meron din tayong discussion usually no ng goodwill kasi kino-consider natin no kung sakaling meron tayong purchases at meron tayong excess doon sa fair value. We will discuss that later by way of illustration. Kung sakaling yung payment na ng pinambili natin sa halimbawa meron tayong biniling company at yung total net assets no, yung fair value ng net assets na yun, let's say for example ay 10 million pero nagbayad tayo 11 million, we can attribute the excess to goodwill. So although may concern kasi tayo with goodwill yung identifiability niya. So usually the goodwill is accounted separately sa ating mga identifiable intangible assets. Okay? Pero pa-consider lang din po nito Now, for initial measurements, hindi naman po ito nalalayo sa IAS 16 or PAS 16. Kasi kung papaano tayo bumili ng tangible assets, kasi pag tangible, nahahawakan. Pag intangible, hindi mo na nahahawakan eh. Okay? So, kasi kaya dito nakasabi without physical substance. So, we can acquire intangible assets either by a separate acquisition, nagbayad ka ng cash, okay, or cash price equivalent, or by way of business combination, which we measure at fair value, no? And then there also the consideration kapag meron man tayong na-acquire na intangible asset pero government grant yun, okay, or trade-in or exchange of assets and other modes no which we can refer to IAS 16. Although may provisions din naman yung standard under IAS 38 about different modes no. Pero similar lamang po siya in application. Okay, so kung okay na tayo doon sa IAS 16 yung different modes of acquisition, at least no mali-leverage niyo po yung learning nyo dito sa intangible assets in terms of initial acquisition yung cost of asset. Okay, another item no yung mga internally generated assets. And dito pinag-uusapan natin yung research and development phase because that is something unique sa topic na ito. Okay? So research and development ibig sabihin meron tayong dinidevelop dito. So usually halimbawa sa mga car manufacturers, they are developing prototypes, mga future models of cars no. Na halimbawa sa ngayon we have gas, we have diesel pero they are transitioning to hybrid to fully electric. And in the future, no, based on the research and development na ginagawa ng mga entity na ito, we may have to consider other alternative forms of fuel. Okay, so dito yung pumapasok. Now under IAS 38, no, pag research and development, pag research phase, that is always expense. Okay? Kasi pag research, naghahanap pa lamang tayo, no, we are undertaking, meron tayong prospect pa. We are trying to find solutions. We are trying to learn, no, technological or technical knowledge, gaining new scientific knowledge. So, naghahanap pa, nasa exploration phase tayo. So, hindi pa natin dito ma-address or ma-assess yung future economic benefits. So, therefore, we have to expense it. Kasi sablay siya doon sa capitalization criteria. Samantalang, under the development phase, nakalagay dito capitalize, no? If the capitalization criteria is met. At mahigpit po ang ating standard doon, no? Na kailangan yung development cost can only be capitalized if na-meet niya na lahat, all of the capitalization criteria. At ito po, no, yung acronym natin doon sa na yon, capitalization criteria na yon. At kailangan lahat po na ito ay ma-meet. Hindi pwedeng isa lang or hindi pwedeng majority. So pinaiksi lamang ito, no, pero medyo may kahabaan yan pag binasa po ninyo yung provisions ng standard. Probable economic benefit or probable future benefits. Intention, there is an intention to complete. Or kaya, no, pag nakompleto na, either gamitin or ibenta. So from, either gagamitin siya and then, syempre, it will benefit the company or ibebenta mo yon kung ano man yung na-invento mo. So invention, di ba? And then resources adequate. So na-establish na natin yung mga technical and technical feasibility. Although ito pala siya, no, technical feasibility. So dito resources, meron tayong adequate resources, not only the technical aspect but also the financial aspect para makumpleto natin yon. So that in the future there is an ability to use or sell the asset na consider na rin natin, no, yung technical feasibility, and then the expenditure can be measured reliably. So if you remember, cost can be measured reliably, di ba? So kino-consider natin yon even sa PPE or some other assets. Now, meron tayong mga pinoprohibit, pinagbabawal from capitalization, yung mga internally generated brands, mastheads, publishing titles, customer list. If internally generated, because we cannot distinguish the cost from the cost of developing business as a whole. So yun, malinaw din yung standard doon na we have to expense them when incurred. Unless, externally generated. Ano ibig sabihin ng externally generated? Binili mo. Okay? So yun lang. Now, subsequent to initial recognition, we apply the cost model and revaluation model similar to PAS 16 or IAS 16. Wala po tayong pinagkaiba doon. Kung paano natin ito natutunan, naintindihan sa IAS 16, ganun lang din po. Pero syempre, kung sa PAS 16, depreciation ang tawag natin, sa intangible assets, amortization. Okay? Now, there are different types of intangible assets. And we can categorize them in terms of the expected benefit, no? Kasi merong mga intangible assets na limited yung life. Ibig sabihin, finite siya. So, may dulo. Okay? Samantalang, there are certain intangible assets na indefinite yung useful life. So, anong pinagkaiba nila? If finite, definite yung ating life, yung estimated life, therefore, we have to amortize them. At alam naman natin, reckoning point, no, kung kailan tayo mag-start ng amortization, similar sa depreciation, when it is available for use. And the amortization method that we will use should reflect the pattern of consumption. And kadalasan, ang basis po natin dito ay straight line. And then for residual value, generally assume zero unless there is an active market at ma-identify natin na by the end of the useful life, there will be a market na pwede natin mapagbentahan at ganito yung estimated na residual value. As to impairment we only test if there is an indication of impairment. Samantalang pagdating sa indefinite useful life ng mga intangible assets, hindi ibig sabihin na infinite, na walang katapusan. Bakit? Pwede kasi na in the future magkaroon ng changes. So hindi na siya indefinite. Ang sinasabi lang natin at this point where we cannot see the end at this point based on our assessment. So dahil hindi natin siya nakikita, hindi pa natin siya ngayon nakikita yung dulo niya, o hindi muna tayo mag-amortize. So there is no amortization for this type of assets. But we have to review the useful life assessment annually to check if indefinite is still supportable. So ibig sabihin, titignan natin, i-assess natin kung wala pa rin katapusan yung expected na use natin doon. Otherwise, kung meron, therefore, we will have to identify yung estimated life natin. So, malilipat na siya from an indefinite useful life papuntang finite. Now, since hindi po tayo nag-amortize dito, we have to make sure that the asset is free from any impairment indicators. And that is why we have to test annually to consider yung mga indications. Baka meron tayong impairment sa intangible asset. Okay? So, pagdating naman sa derecognition, similar lamang po ito with PPE. Usually, lumalabas dito is sa mga exams, computation ng gain or loss on disposal. Ito gusto ko lang i-emphasize, and this is also true for PPE and other types of assets. Halimbawa, yung investment property under cost model. Or pag dinispose natin yung yung investment property. Kung magkano yung net disposal proceeds, comparing it to the carrying amount. So, there is a gain or loss. So, kung mas malaki yung natanggap mo, yung proceeds, kumpara sa carrying amount na nasa libro, panalo ka. Pag mas maliit, goals. Lugi. So, loss tayo doon. Now, ito yung common na nagiging dito, mistake ng mga students sa net disposal proceeds. Kasi, itong net disposal proceeds, kino-consider po natin, although wala dito sa aking summary, kino-consider po natin dito sa net disposal proceeds yung mga disposal cost. Kaya nakalagay net disposal proceeds. Kasi halimbawa, kung meron kang yung gross na, gamitin ko lang yung term na gross, kung yung selling price, for example, ay 150,000. Tapos meron kang disposal cost na 20,000. So yung net proceeds na natanggap mo ay 130. Okay? So ninineto na natin siya. So the difference between the net disposal proceeds and the carrying amount, yun yung actual na gain or loss natin on the recognition or disposal or sale of this asset. Okay? So now, let us answer itong mga review questions. So we begin with part 1. Medyo mahaba lamang po ito. So para makasave tayo ng time, so assuming na review niya na ito, or kaya naman kung hindi nyo pa na-review, pakibasa muna ng problem, pause the video, and then pag may napili ka na, saka mo na ito i-play. So the first question talks about the definition. Okay? So ano yung tamang sagot dito? Is it A, B, C, or D? Ang tamang sagot po natin dito ay letter D. So, okay? An asset that is identifiable, controlled by the entity, and is expected to generate probable future economic benefits. So nandiyan yung characteristic ng identifiability, control, and the future economic benefits. Okay? It's not A, B, or C. Okay? Number 2, it's about recognition. So, pause the video or assuming okay na po kayo dyan, if an entity incurred significant cost sa pag-develop ng proprietary customer profiling system, and the system improves sales forecasting, pero hindi pa mabenta-benta, licensed, or transferred, and competitors could replicate, kayang maduplicate, yung methodology with sufficient effort. So, papaano daw yung appropriate accounting treatment dito? Capitalize ba or expense? The correct answer for question number 2 is letter C. Expense po yan. Kasi it's difficult to establish identifiability. Kasi ano yan, dito sinasabi, hindi mo nga mabenta-benta or mapalisensyahan or mailipat. Tapos yung mga katunggali mo ay kayang kopyahin yung methodology if they are provided enough time to do that. So, expense po natin yan because we cannot identify the asset. Alright? So, that's the answer for number 2. Number 3 talks about finite versus indefinite life. So, alin daw sa mga sumusunod na ito? So, we were provided with 4 statements. Alin dito ang tama about the useful life of intangible assets? Okay? 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you are done with answering, ang tamang sagot po dito ay letter C. Ano yung letter C? 1, 2, and 3. Ayan, ito. Tignan po natin mabuti. 1. Intangible assets assessed as having a finite are systematically amortized. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, that is correct. Systematically amortized. Number 2. Intangible assets na may indefinite useful life, hindi natin ina-amortize. That is also correct. Because, sabi natin, hindi natin makita yung hangganan at this point. No? Pangatlo, intangible assets na may indefinite useful life, subject to impairment testing at least annually. And that is also correct. To see if there are any impairment indicators. Now, bakit mali yung pang-apat? Yung intangible assets daw na may finite useful life, excluded from impairment testing. Hindi po yun totoo. Kung babalikan natin yung nasa taas, or if you can check your visual summary, ang sabi doon, kung merong indicator ng impairment, ayan, balikan natin ha. Saan na nga yun? Ito. Test only if there is an indication of impairment. Okay? So, mali po yung number 4, and this is correct. No? Letter C. How about number 4? Commencement naman ng amortization ang tinatanong po dito. Alin dito ang tamang sagot? Okay? Kailan nag-uumpisa? The answer is letter C. Amortization begins when the asset is available for use. Diba? Hindi lang naman yun pang IAS 38. That also applies sa IAS 16. Okay? So, kung kailan available na siya para gamitin. Example, when it's already in the condition and location necessary para magamit. Okay? Kung nailagay na siya sa pwesto, pero may mga kailangan pang gawin, o hindi pa po pwede. Kaya nga, di ba, kinakapitalize natin yung mga testing cost. Okay? Mali po yung letter A, hindi upon recognition, as soon as the entity meets the definition, kailangan pa natin i-consider yung availability ng asset. Mali din yung letter B, when it is probable that the asset will generate future economic benefits. It's not the reckoning point, no? Kasi we need to consider other costs, no? Na kailangan yung pag-aayos para maging ready na siya. At mali din po yung letter D, na mag-start tayo kung kailan available na or measurable na yung cost. Kahit na hindi pa daw ginagamit yung asset. So dito ito pa lang naging sure na dito na mali dapat yan. Okay, so that is number 4. Now, let us proceed with question number 5. Amortization method tayo dito. So, an entity recognizes a patent with a finite useful life measured using the cost model. Unable to, reliably determine the pattern. So, ano gagawin natin pag hindi mo ma-determine yung pattern, no, of economic benefits? Okay? Anong amortization method ang gagamitin mo? Sabi natin, we should use the straight line method. No, yun dapat ang ating gagamitin. Kasi titingnan natin yung expected pattern of consumption, but if we cannot determine the pattern, o the straight line method tayo. Yun yung default. Okay? That's for question number 5. We move on to question number 6. Ayan. You are provided once again with 4 items. Consider which are correct. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yan. Ang tamang sagot po natin dito ay letter D. 1, 2, and 4. Isa-isahin natin, no? Para ma-address natin. Bakit tama, bakit mali. Pag may revision sa estimated useful life, that is considered as a change in accounting estimate, ha? Hindi po change in accounting policy. And when we use, when there is a change in accounting estimate, in accordance with IAS 8, no, it will be prospective in application. Okay? So, moving forward, wala ka ng restatement. Kaya nga dito, no, ang adjustment lang sa amortization ay yung current and future periods. Hindi mo na pwedeng balikan yung nakaraan. You do not need to restate. Kasi pag may restatement, ibig sabihin may prior, meron tayong adjustment in the past. So, anong tawag natin dito? Retrospective yung application. Mali yung pangatlo, kasi sabi dito, recognize in prior periods na amortization, we reverse and adjust retrospectively. So, ito yung na-mention ko dito sa discussion sa pangalawa. Kaya mali po yung pangatlo. And then yung 4, we have to disclose. So, appropriate disclosure. So, that makes 8, 1, 2, and 4 correct. Okay, so that's for number 6. Number 7, internally generated brands. So, alin dito yung mga tama about this. So, class, no, for number 7, our answer dito is ito. 1, 3, and 4. At bakit mali yung pangalawa? Una, cost related to internally created brands should be expensed. Tama, di ba? Prohibiting capitalization. Internally generated goodwill is not recognized as an asset. Okay? Internally generated is not recognized as an asset. Sandali ha. Tama po ba yan? Is that true? Tingnan natin. Expenditures on customer list developed internally are generally expensed. Yes, that's correct. Internally generated cannot be capitalized. Okay? And must be expensed. Alright. Actually, teka, double check ko lang ha. Meron ba akong naging revision dyan? Anong sabi natin about internally generated goodwill? May na-mention ba tayo dito sa visual summary? Kung wala dito, ibig sabihin, babalikan ninyo yung mga materials na binigay ko sa inyo. Okay. So, saan yung ating goodwill? Goodwill. May na-mention ba tayo about goodwill, di ba? Okay. Internally generated goodwill is never recognized as an asset. Bakit? Balikan lang natin because I failed to I am not sure with the answer here. Kung 1, 3, and 4 ba dapat? Kasi sabi dito, internally generated goodwill is not recognized as an asset in the statement. I think the reason why ang binigay na answer dito is 1, 3, and 4 is because of the use of the term not recognized. Okay? Ang sabi doon, never recognized as an asset. Although kung titignan po ninyo etong ating statement, internally generated goodwill is not recognized as an asset in the financial statement. Totoo din naman, di ba? Hindi natin nare-recognize and never recognized. So instead of answering letter C, we should anong tawag natin dito? Update na dapat lahat po yan ay tama. Kasi tama naman yung pangalawa. And I think nagkaroon lang ng mali, naging letter C yung sagot just simply because of the term not recognized. Dahil doon, never recognized. Pero this is also true. So ang gawin na lang natin dito letter D ang tamang sagot. Okay? So paki-consider po ng ating number 7. I will also correct my control copy here para lang hindi makalusot yung minor difference sa sagot. Okay? Proceed po tayo sa number 8. subsequent expenditures. So, alin daw dito, yung tama no, sa mga statements 1, 2, 3, and 4. Ang tamang sagot po natin dito, according to our control copy, is letter D. But it's good that we have to consider reading. Para kagaya nito, 7, baka may ma-encounter tayo na mali. Or baka may na-miss, may na-miss look. Okay? Tama, alin dito yung mga tama? So una, subsequent expenditure should be capitalized only if it increases the future economic benefit beyond its originally assessed standard of performance. True. Walang kaso tayo dito. So mali na yung letter B kasi 2 and 3 lang daw yung tama. Majority of subsequent expenditures such as routine repairs and maintenance are expense as incurred. This is indeed correct. So tama po yung pangalawa. So tama pa rin yung A, C, and D. Now, ordinary maintenance costs for intangible assets are not capitalized even if they extend the asset's life or maintain its condition. The reason why this is made false, no? Kaya yung sagot dito ay letter D. Kasi this is ordinary maintenance cost. So ito po yung mga routine repairs maintenance. So kaya hindi natin siya kinakapitalize. Usually, we consider yung mga maintenance costs as capitalizable if the repair or the maintenance is more of an extraordinary and therefore enhancing the life of the asset. Kasi dito, medyo alanganin tayo sa letter C, it's because of the term ordinary. Kaya hindi dapat natin siya kinakapitalize. Okay? Even if they extend the asset's life or maintain its condition. For maintenance ng condition, that is the reason why we make periodic repairs and maintenance to maintain its working condition para magamit natin. Pero magkakaroon lang tayo dito ng disclaimer. If the cost extends, if this subsequent expenditure, itong mga repairs, maintenance, ay na-extend yung asset life, ibang usapan na yon. So, maaari na nating ma-consider yon as capitalizable. Pero hindi na siya ordinary. It's more of a major, hindi na siya minor. If you remember our discussion sa PPE about major and minor repairs. So magfo-fall siya under major, extraordinary na siya. So dito, meron lang tayong konting disclaimer. So kasi ordinary ito. Tapos dito may option either extend the asset life or maintain the asset. So pag dito, tama. Yes, pero pagdating dito, we have to capitalize them. So medyo erratic yung statement natin sa 3. Undecided. Ano ba talagang gusto mong mangyari? Parang gano'n. Okay? Kaya mali na yung pangatlo. Cost incurred in legal defense which successfully protect or extend may be capitalized. Okay. Ayan. So it's good again that we are answering kasi ito yung nasa control and hindi ko pa siya na validate. So andito yung part ng validation sa ating review. Mali po yung pang-apat. This is also considered false. Ang tamang sagot dapat natin ay 1 and 2. Anong sabi sa atin? Yung mga litigation costs to defend a patent, whether successfully or unsuccessfully, we should expense them. Hindi po natin sila kinakapitalize. Okay? So, number 8, the correct answer should be letter A. Sige. So, hindi ko na nga susundan yung control copy para walang premature na judgment sa answer. Okay? So, isa-isahin natin yung mga ganitong statement para maiwasan natin yung mga mistakes. Okay. Number 9, revaluation. Ano naman po ang sinasabi dito sa revaluation? Alin dito ang tamang sagot? Okay. So, initially ang sa control copy ko, yung sagot daw ay letter C, pero isa-isahin natin to. 1, 2, and 3 lang ba? Revaluation is permitted only if there is an active market for the asset. making fair value reliably measurable. Okay. Kasi di ba, under the revaluation model, ino-consider natin yung fair value ng asset. Okay? Pero hindi natin ginagamit yung fair value model. Kasi pag fair value model, you may mistake it doon sa investment property. Dahil sa fair value model, wala tayong depreciation, di ba? So, ang term na ginagamit natin ay revaluation model. Nire-revalue natin yung asset based doon sa fair value. Kasi measurable ito. Okay? So, this is correct. No, yung statement number 1. Pangalawa, yung revaluation surplus arising from increase in fair value is recognized in OCI. That is true. And accumulated in equity under a revaluation reserve. So, this is also correct. Okay. Pangatlo, majority of intangible assets cannot be revalued because active markets rarely exist for such an asset. Okay. So, this is correct. Okay? Yan. So, kadalasan, although sa problems, sinasabi, kung anong model ang gagamitin. Pero, in reality, usually, for intangible assets, we apply the cost model. Kasi, very limited, yung, kung hindi man very limited, rarely exist yung active market. So, we cannot identify the fair value. So, we have to resort to the cost model. So, this makes yung option 3 correct. Revaluation gains are recognized in profit or loss when the fair value of the intangible increases. This is wrong. Kasi sabi sa pangalawa, in OCI. Okay? So, ang tamang sagot po natin dito ay 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Proceed po tayo sa number 10, revaluation model. So, ito naman yung tinatanong, Ito, medyo application, pero naka-multiple choice jury pa rin tayo. Pero pwede na rin itong problem solving. An entity measures a trademark using the revaluation model. Okay? In a prior reporting period, the entity recognized a 300,000 revaluation decrease. So, previously, meron kang revaluation decrease taken in profit or loss. Okay, P&L. So, kung nasa P&L yan, that is an impairment loss. Although, ang term na ginamit natin, revaluation decrease. No revaluation surplus existed in equity for this asset at the time. So, kaya impairment loss taken to P&L. Pero kung may reversal kasi, dahil may balance pa yung revaluation surplus, wala po dapat ito sa P&L. Nasa OCI dapat yon. At the current year end, the fair value of the trademark increases 900,000. How should the revaluation increase be recognized? So, kailangan nating hatiin. So, if you remember sa PPE, pag nag-graph ka, you have to keep track of the original. Kasi any increase or decrease doon sa carrying amount, had the asset been, carried based doon sa kanyang original, cost at yung original na depreciation. Pag lumagpas ka doon sa taas ng carrying amount, revaluation surplus yan, any reversal ay reversal ng revaluation surplus. Pag bumaba ka naman, impairment loss or subsequent reversal ng impairment loss. So dito class, ang sagot po natin sa number 10 ay letter B. Recognize 300,000 in profit or loss. Reversal ng ating decrease. And the remaining 600,000 in OCI as revaluation surplus. Okay? So, wag niyo na pong isipan ito ng malalim because that is the amount provided, Okay? Baka tanungin niyo ako, sir, di ba yung ating carrying amount pababa ng pababa. So, bakit 300,000 pa rin ulit? So, dito, ito yung available. So, the appropriate response in this available information is letter B. Okay? Yan. So, ito class, for number 10. Move on tayo sa question number 11 about research and development. So, the entity is developing a new medical device. The following costs were incurred during the year. Conceptual design, feasibility study, prototype development after technical feasibility was demonstrated, costs to obtain regulatory approval, marketing studies for expected demand. Yun lang. No? At ang tinatanong, alin daw dito ang pwedeng i-capitalize as an intangible? May be capitalized. Maybe ha. Maybe. Siguro. Ganun. The correct answer is letter B. Only prototype development and regular approval cost. Yun lang. Ito. So, pwede po natin itong i-capitalize after technical feasibility was demonstrated daw. And assuming all the remaining capitalization criteria are met. So, pwede natin itong i-capitalize. Ito, research lang to eh. Okay? Cost to obtain regulatory approval. Okay? Sandali. Sandali. Ang pinupunto natin dito na cost to obtain regulatory approval, if we are already asking, halimbawa, nagpa-file na tayo sa IPO, Intellectual Property Office, anong tawag natin dito? Nagpa-file na tayo for patent application. So, pwede rin po natin itong i-capitalize. No? Cost to obtain regulatory approval. So, dalawa po ang pwedeng maging sagot natin. Letter B and letter C. Yan. So, sa susunod, no, para hindi ako mapahiya, although hindi naman ako napapahiya, na nasusuportahan ko naman yung aking explanations. Yun nga lang, wala tayong, halimbawa, dito, sa number 11, dalawa yung sagot. At yung iba, mali yung nasa control. Okay, pero ayan ha. For number 11, letter B and letter C, pwede po yan pass na. Ayan. Pero, ito lang ha, na yung letter B, only prototype development and regulatory. Ay, sorry. Ayun na pala, tama naman pala. Ayan, letter B nga talaga. Prototype development, hindi ko nabasa ito, no? So, ayan, yung mistake ninyo minsan, di ba, na ito lang yung nababasa ninyo na una, tapos, okay na yun. So, ito, minsan, nami-miss out na natin. Yun din ang nangyari sa akin. So, tama, na. Ayan, akala ko patuloy yung kasama din yung letter C kasi prototype development. Alright. Pa-scratch, pabura ng una kong na-mention, no? Number 11, tama lang tayo dito. Letter B. Prototype development if na-satisfy natin yung capitalization criteria. And also, the cost to obtain regulatory approval. Alright? Ayan. Number 12, about impairment ng intangible asset. So, meron tayong finite life, intangible asset. Ang carrying amount niya ay 1.2 million. May recoverable amount na 950. Which of the following statements are correct? A, B, 1, 2, 3, and 4 at alin dito sa lahat? Isa-isay natin. Impairment loss daw, i-recognize mo in profit or loss amounting to 250. And that 250 is the difference between 1.2 and 950. That is correct. Pangalawa, after recognizing the impairment, the new amortizable amount of the intangible assets become 950. This is also correct. Pangatlo, future amortization charges are recalculated prospectively over the remaining useful life based on the impairment amount. Okay, wala namang info about any change in the useful life or kung ilang taon man yon. Therefore, the answer, ito lang, will base on kung ano man yung existing na hindi given dito based on 950,000. Okay? And number 4, the recognized impairment loss may be reversed in a subsequent period if there is an improvement in the assets recoverable amount. Yes. Only to the extent ng previously recognized impairment loss. Okay? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. All statements dito ang ating sagot. Letter D, dog. Okay. So, we have 3 more items for multiple choice. And ikakat ko muna doon yung recording para suabe, hindi masyado mahaba At baka atakihin na naman ako ng aking katinang lalamunan. So dahan-dahan tayo para hindi masayang yung recording. Number 13 talks about or asks us about cost generating unit or CGU. Okay, sa usual na undergraduate na discussion, pagkatapos ng intangible asset, na-mention yung mga cost generating units. So pag sinabi natin cost generating units, this is composed of various assets considered as one. And they are kasi they in there as a group, they generate cash. Okay? Na nakakabenepisyo siya sa isang company. May kasamang goodwill daw. Bakit may kasama? Kasi galing ito sa business combination. Together with PPE and identifiable intangible assets. So, please take note, identifiable intangible asset. Kasi yung goodwill, this is unidentifiable intangible asset. Okay. At the reporting date daw, ang recoverable amount ng CGU mas mababa sa carrying amount, resulting in an impairment loss at the CGU level. Class, when we talk about impairment of assets, covering PPE, intangibles, investment property, and other assets, other non-financial assets, the standard that covers the discussion of impairment ay PAS or IAS 36. Okay, pero this impairment is also mentioned in different standards pero nire-refer sa provisions ng IAS 36. Anong gagawin natin sa impairment loss at paano natin ito i-distribute? Kasi nga yung CGU natin binubuo ng PPE, ng other identifiable intangible assets and also your goodwill. Okay? So, ano po ang sagot natin sa number 13? Yan. Isa-isahin muna natin, Pero ang tamang sagot natin dito ay letter B. Pero patotohanan natin, pasinungalingan din natin yung iba. Allocate the impairment loss first to the identifiable assets. Mali na agad yan. Okay? Bakit? Unahin muna natin sa goodwill. Allocate the impairment loss proportionally to all assets. Mali din yan. Bakit? Kasama daw yung goodwill. So, letter C, allocate muna yung impairment loss sa goodwill. Then, kung may natira pang impairment loss, allocate natin sa remaining assets ng CGU proportionately based on their carrying amount. Okay? So, subject to asset level recoverable amount limits. So, yun yung tinutukoy natin na titignan natin based on the carrying amounts, Pero, syempre, hindi pwedeng mag-negative yung asset mo. Kung yung proportional amount ng impairment loss ay mas mataas doon sa carrying amount ng isang asset doon, syempre, isi-zero out mo lang yung carrying amount. Tapos the rest ay distribute mo, Letter D, double check lang natin, entirely to goodwill daw. Paano nga kung may sobra pa? So, hindi niya na-address. So, letter C ang tamang sagot for number 13. Okay? Number 14 naman po tayo. Another question on impairment of goodwill. Which statement correctly describes the impairment testing requirement for goodwill? Ang sagot po natin dito ay goodwill is tested annually for impairment and whenever indicators exist. Annually Hindi pa pwede kung kailan lang may impairment indicators, Hindi natin ina-amortize at hindi po natin yan tested when the related CGU reports a loss. Papaano kung walang gain? Papaano kung walang loss pero may impairment indicator, diba? So we have to assess. So number 14, letter C. And last, for question number 15, so ito medyo dinadamihan ko yung ganitong mga setup ng mga MCQs. So parang modified MCQ yan. Kailangan mong i-consider yung lahat before answering. Alin ba dito ang tamang sagot? So alin dito yung mga tama? And this is also to establish and also to assess your understanding of the topic. Okay? The recognition occurs daw when an intangible asset is disposed or abandoned, meaning it is removed from the statement of financial position. Okay, this is correct. I-ano ko lang, no? I-disclaim ko lang yung term na abandon. No? So, dinispose mo siya at ano na, no? Baka kasi isipin ninyo, baka idle lang yan. Temporary idle. So, hindi po ha, itong abandonment na ito ay tatanggalin mo na, pababayaan mo na talaga siya. So, i-recognize mo na siya. Okay? Dinispatch mo na. Hindi yung temporary idle. So, the temporarily idle is not the thought of this abandon the term. Any gain or loss arising from the recognition is recognized in P&L on the recognition. True. So 1 and 2, tama po sila. The carrying amount at the recognition includes accumulated amortization and any accumulated impairment costs. Indeed, kasi carrying amount, di ba? Includes, ibig sabihin, na-consider na natin. Cost minus accumulated amortization and any accumulated impairment loss. True din. No. How about the fourth? Gains from the recognition are recognized in OCI rather than P&L. Mali na po yun. So that is why the answer is ito. No, letters 1, 2, and 3 lang. All right. So that's the 15 items MCQ theory. Although may iba dito no, na may amounts na assessment na pwedeng pang problem solving, pero more of concepts ang inaano kasi natin dito, no? Gustong pagtuunan ng pansin. So, I'll stop the sharing. Hanggang dito muna tayo sa session na ito. We'll record the problem solving 15 items separately. So, let me know if you have any questions or clarification. Baka may na-mention ako na hindi ko masyado na pansin na mali pala. Please correct me kung meron man. Okay, sige. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the next recording. Bye-bye.